I moved things around and I am loving the new setup. I got a Konigmeyer spider stand to put my Model D below the Iridium, and I've been using the Iridium so much more because before it used to be on the what's that called? Keyboard tray. And I don't know. I didn't play it as much. I was always playing the Moog One, which I still do, but the Iridium is amazing, and people have been, why am I doing this video? People have been messaging me and asking for a video about the Iridium, and I thought, gee, that's a really good idea for a video, so here we are. A little bit about this awesome patch. This is, it's a little deceptive. I actually have on layer 1 this very, very cool wavetable patch, which has poly aftertouch everywhere. I use poly aftertouch so much, and it's one of the reasons I love this. It's one of the few, I mean, outside the Hydrasynth, and this can just do so much more than the Hydrasynth in terms of the number of synthesis engines. It just sounds so good, and you can get so expressive with it. I have the mod wheel set up to change the wave table. And on this patch, so this is just layer 1, I have, again, bi-timbral, so 2 layers playing simultaneously. On layer 1, I have 3 different wavetables going. I guess I could probably look at that. Over here. So layer 1, layer 2, layer 3. I don't know if you can see that. Maybe I'll try and zoom in. Maybe I won't. And mod wheel, changing the wavetable position, and then also modulating the effects, and aftertouch is like bringing the cutoff filter up. Yeah, I think I got this because the Moog One is amazing, and polyphonic analog synth with that level of modulation capability and everything, there's nothing like it out there. But it can't do certain sounds, and this can do them. So I made this patch the other day. On the second layer, so here's where I said it was a little deceptive. On the second layer, I actually don't have any of the Iridium oscillators, and this is the Moog One, a patch I made, running into the external ends, which are stereo, and just taking up a single voice. And then I have, what's so cool about this is from the MIDI control side, layer 1 is sending MIDI out on a channel 1, and layer 2 is sending MIDI out channel 2, and then I have a keyboard split set up, and something I wish the Moog One would do, but it doesn't. This honors the split with respect to the MIDI out, so this is only sending MIDI to the Moog One until I get to C3, and that's the last note, and then we switch back over to the Iridium. So it's such a cool way to get like these really big lush stacks. Master section of the layer, you can choose where you want the input to get routed. So I actually have it routing through the filter, and so I have a high pass filter set up. Oh, that'd be so amazing for some dub techno. I don't have my drum machine on, and that would get too distracting. But it's really cool. You can just run stuff through. Wait, maybe I do have my drum machine running. Nope, I don't. Oh, wait. I gotta have the gate open. Anyway, for another time. But yeah, one of the things I love doing when I'm jamming is running like some drums or something or some type of signal over layer 2, and then you can use the effects to then, you know, like mess it up. Started to get a little out of control. I was panicking inside, you know that feeling? Anyway, so that's enough of this patch. I just wanted to show that because it's something I've never really seen anybody show off, and it's really extensively set up and very, very cool, and I really, really appreciate it. So that's, and it said, you know, it'll also send the mod wheel and stuff, so you can like have all your modulation on your mod wheel set up on your other synth, as well as on your other layer for this synth, and get them both going. One of these days I'm going to get a new camera, and then I won't have to check my phone compulsively to make sure I'm not over time. So more sounds, more patches. I've done a lot of sound design on this, and I love it. Here's a great example of something that... oh, God. Yeah, this is cool. So I used to have a Lyra... I used to have a Lyra 8, if anyone's familiar with that. And it's a very cool analog synthesizer. It's very expressive. I had a hard time incorporating it into my actual music production. I actually used it on quite a few tracks, but it just was so niche, and it took up space. And as you can tell, now that you're seeing this angle of my apartment, I don't have a lot of space. So I'm very mindful about the type of, and I just personally don't like owning a lot of things. So I wanted to see if I could recreate the Lyra using this and get that kind of eerie sort of drone vibe. So I made this patch. Let's see. Ooh, yeah, I had a feeling it was going to be a little loud. Okay. That one's like, it's just like, I mean, like, ooh, that's a chiller. Like, that's a really good, again, not something that could really do that well. This is using poly aftertouch to modulate the pitch, obviously. And then it's also modulating some of the effects and things like that. So I made this, and then I was like, you know, I really don't need the Lyra 8, so I sold it. And that thing is like always out of production or hard to get, so I actually recouped the cost pretty much, more so than I think anything I've ever sold before. So if you do have a Lyra 8 and you are thinking about selling it, you will probably be able to sell it very easily. More sounds. What's something else? Okay, here's a great example of a sound that, like, the Moog One just could not do. This is one of my favorite patches I've ever made, and it's taking advantage of the particle engine, so there's sampling going on, which maybe if I take a look at that. What am I even sampling? Like, I don't even remember. Like, that's what I love about this thing is I just don't even know what I was doing. I just got lost in it. It's so easy. I want to try to save some time to like, yeah, I got plenty of time to like actually go through how I start making a patch on this, but yeah, it's so great. So the, I mean, to even break it down, is this 2 layers? No, it's just 1 layer, I think. Ooh, maybe it was just, yeah, it was just 1 layer, but for whatever reason, I did this on layer 2. So the particle engine's like taking a sample and doing kind of like round robin, and then I have a bunch of different samples, so it kind of like, every time you play a key, it's doing round robin, picking another sample, scanning back and forth. I have some like white noise, I think, that's coming in. Yeah, like white noise that kind of comes in toward the end, just like, you know, that kind of shit. So good. I should probably stop swearing. I feel like it would probably help me out in YouTube world, but again, I think we've established this isn't for kids. Some strings. This might be a little loud. Like, this is a 16 voice patch. So good. One of the things I like about this is that because the effects are so tightly integrated into the modulation capabilities, the effects become really part of the sound. Unlike I feel like other synths, like on the Moog, I frequently use the effects, but then like when I make a patch, I find that an effect combination that I like, and I'll save that in the patch, but then I turn the effects off, and I tend to record it dry. Whereas this, like, I end up actually modulating parameters on the effects, but like it has a really nice tone. Like I have a chorus and a reverb, which is pretty typical for some strings. But here's it without it. That doesn't have I'm sorry, I was like, that doesn't have any effects, and I was like, that sounds like it's got effects. It does. This is a layered patch, so it's taking advantage of all 16 voices. It sounds awesome, I think, without the effects too. And programming on this is just like, it's one of the most amazing synth experiences I've ever had. It's comparable to the One with respect to the user interface. Nothing is ever more than one menu deep. Everything, the screen is incredible. I can't say enough good things about it, but let's do some more sounds because that's what we're here for, possibly. Yeah. This was like me trying to, I was like, I wonder if I can make some like gnarly guitar sounds. Ooh, loud. Yeah, that's wild. That one's called Hendrix Me. I think I think I made this on 4th of July, and I played the, I'll mess it up if I try right now, but it was the national anthem. But that's something I couldn't get out of the One very easily, just that rawness. This is a great one. there's a bit crusher, a bit reducer on the One, which I love, but this can get just some really amazing 80s sounds because the digital former has a really nice bit crusher, and yeah, it's just like... It's got that like nice sparkly quality that all the aliasing from the old 80s stuff had, which I love. And again, not as easy to get. I used this in a track. This is like just such a good stock sound. And another one. This is a really nice one. This one actually I used to not be able to play because there was a bug that they recently resolved. They've been so good. I gotta say, Waldorf is so good about dealing with that kind of stuff. But this is using the resonator, which is like physical modeling. And you know, it's really cool. You can... there's so much here, it's impossible. I don't try to go into this because there's like the loop pop video of this, which is really great, and I feel like there are other people who try to do the overview stuff, and that's not really my jam. It's more like, what can I get out of these things? But this is a really good example of something I can't make on the One. Yeah, just like this glassy piano thing. And again, this is grabbing some sampled piano notes that I've tuned in combination with the resonator, in combination with the just some waveform. It's got some poly aftertouch doing something. Really beautiful. What else do I have that I could show you? And how much time do we have? Oh my god, only 5 minutes. It went by so fast. Okay, so maybe I'll I'll talk a little bit about why I have this some more, which is it just, yeah, it can do stuff that can't, and it does it so well. And I thought about getting a Quantum, but there's some drawbacks, like why would you get this versus the desktop? Having an integrated keyboard that like works so harmoniously with everything else and has poly aftertouch is really incredible. It makes for an experience, at least for me as an instrumentalist, that is much more like, yeah, harmonious. Like I'm in it when I'm playing it. I had and there's a very key thing that is different from this between the Iridium desktop, which I had, which is there's this mod button. And the mod button is so cool because when you want to mod something, let's say the wavetable, right? We want to mod that. You just click mod, turn the knob you want to mod. Let's do poly aftertouch. You know, it's so easy, and the Iridium desktop doesn't have that mod button, which is a real shame. The Quantum does. So why did I get this over the Quantum? One, poly aftertouch. They've recently upgraded the Quantum, which had 8 voices initially, and now it has 16. But you can only send 8 of those voices through the analog filters, which also turn the signal to mono. So you can take these oscillators and you can pan them individually, which is incredible for like that string patch that I made. If you were to run that in the Quantum through one of the filters, it monos it out. So it's kind of like frustrating. I think it's great for Quantum users and then they've sort of made the 3 have more or less identical firmware, which is cool. So it's really clear they've been trying to like unify the platform. And I like the one thing I love more about the Quantum is, I mean, it's just, this is solid. I mean, this is like metal. It's beautiful, but it doesn't just have a standard power cable, which is a shame. Just because I'm like, man, I hope that doesn't break in 10 years. How am I going to get another? Which is frustrating, but you know, it is what it is. So overall, though, this is, I think, if you were going to buy a digital synth, and I guess that's another question, is like, oh my God, 2.5 minutes. Well, why not just use VSTs? I could. This is literally just a VST in a box, but it's the best VST I've ever used because you have wavetable synthesis, you have sampling, there's FM. I didn't even get into the FM capabilities on this, but like FM on this is a delight. Like it's so nice to play, and I probably don't have time to go into it right now, so I'm not even gonna bother. But it's the FM synthesis on this is so nice, and the screen is so helpful. And then the thing that you can do on this, so what do you have? You have wavetable, virtual analog, which sounds good in my opinion. It's got its own vibe. There's the resonator and sampler. I'm repeating myself. There are 3 oscillators, and then there are 2 layers. So you can grab all those things and start mixing and matching on the fly, which is incredible. And you don't get that experience on a VST. I mean, maybe like, I don't know, VCV rack or some kind of thing like that, but you don't, I've just never had that experience of being able to play with so many different types of sound generation, and to have them run in such a cohesive way. Like to do this in Ableton, I'd have to take a bunch of VSTs. I would then have to probably come up with a bunch of macros or something, or group them, and then I would have to like run them in a group behind a series of filters. You know what I mean? Like I'd have to reconstruct this, and you just don't do that when you're trying to make music. And software, like I don't like software because it goes out of date. It stops working when operating systems get upgraded. It's infuriating. And I know that when I turn this on in 10 years, it's just going to be the exact same experience, and it's going to be amazing. And so that's why I bought a hardware digital synth, which seems like something that you wouldn't do when we have such powerful computers. But that's it. I always give myself a little buffer. but I'm pretty sure I only have like a minute, so I'll end it there. If you have any questions or you want me to do more videos about a particular aspect of this, obviously I didn't go in depth into all the different components of it, but I did want to just give you some sounds, of course, and just an overview of why I love this thing and why I have it and why I think this and this are just like together. So thank you as well always for watching, like, subscribe, set up notifications if you're into that kind of thing, and I will see you next time.